All right, here we are back for episode number 2 of JiuJidiots. We have some guys in studio with us today. We have the lovely Marquezino. Care to say anything, Marquezino?
No.
We, of course, have Exor with us, his first week with us. I think he's going to be a somewhat regular guy. Anything to say, Exor?
Hello.
Wait, it's your music? Joker.
Hey.
And Ed's here, too. I didn't know Ed was sitting in, so I didn't get any music for him yet, but I will.
Keep in mind.
It's okay. I'll work on that. But yeah, so no, we have some guys in studio today with us, and unfortunately, Jason Fife is not here, which is a little upsetting, but we'll make do. But let's talk about Joker a little bit. So Joker's been missing for a while, and he's a white belt. He's been training for, well, he signed up a year and a half ago or something, but I wouldn't say he's been training over a year because he's gone missing and stuff. But Joker, you want to give us a little background?
Yeah. Before I do, what's the rating on this? G, PG, what do we?
Let's stick with PG.
All right, cool. Well, I've made that mistake before, and I got in so much trouble. So I signed up a year and a half ago because I was fatter than I am now, and I couldn't run from somebody who wanted to hit me in the face. So I figured it'd be a good idea to learn how to either run or not get hit in the face, and I'm not running. So it's not a coward thing. It's just I'm so out of shape. So I started taking jiu-jitsu because all the other stuff kind of had more cardio involved, and I've been interested in this since I first saw it in '93 on Stolen pay-per-view. We had the little black box, and it was glorious, and those prices back then, So, yep, that was when I first started.
I'm going to cut you off. So the thing about Joker, though, that's good is he is good to train with. He's good to roll with because he's not gonna. He doesn't have like a murderous streak to him where he's gonna win at all costs, and he'll let you work on some stuff. The thing about Joker is though he's very sporadic, and though what's good is he's got a cousin down in Pennsylvania. What's your cousin's name?
Tyler.
Tyler's down in Philadelphia, and he trains with the Miglerese brothers. And Tyler's been training a long time, 15 years, something like that. He's very good. He's a very good purple belt. And so if Joker doesn't show up for a while, I just got to get a hold of Tyler and tell him, and he gets on his case. So I got this little linchpin to get him back in the class, which is good. But, so we had some really good reviews from our last episode. I got a ton of emails, and I didn't get anything. Nobody said anything.
I was getting my next.
I think I got one comment.
One comment.
And it was make it shorter.
Yeah. I got one comment was make it shorter. That's absolutely true. So.
I was going to ask if there was any hate mail.
Not yet. But I do think that naming what we do JiuJidiots makes sense, and I think that's just what we are now. So I figured we'd do a little news segment. Does that sound good to you guys? We have some topics we want to cover today, but we're gonna go through some news. So let's make that official. I went to Los Angeles last week, and while I was there, I was all the touristy stuff, but I got a chance to do some private classes with Henry Akins, who is one of Hickson's first American black belts, and he's kind of an under the radar guy out there. He's been compared to the John Danaher of the West Coast, and he's kind of like a secret guy that he's not a huge name, but he's very well respected among instructors. And I got some private classes with him that I really enjoyed, and his style of jiu-jitsu is very simple. It's very back to basics, but there's a lot of, why didn't I think of that kind of moments, when he does it, which at this point for me, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not looking for more complexity or more, esoteric kind of guards at this point. I just want something that's simple and easy and that I can practice. So anyway, he showed me some really good stuff, and I came back and showed Exor the cross choke. that he showed me. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was pretty good. I actually pulled it off today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Look at you.
So it was good.
Yeah, the first private class started with put me in cross choke, and I put him in cross choke, and my cross choke's pretty good. I think I've caught most of you guys with it, and it goes on. People tap. I catch people with it, but I did it to him for 10 seconds, squeezing as hard as I could, palms all the way towards each other, the way you're supposed to do it, and he didn't tap. And he didn't really make any noises, and he didn't even make any faces. And then he just goes, "Okay, all right, let me show you something different." And then he put it on me, and you felt it, Exor. It's just a totally different feel.
Right away, yeah. It's almost like it sneaks up on you. You don't even really feel in danger. It just kind of sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're having that lights out, world's going fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, which I think is a sign of a really good choke. If it hurts, you're tapping from something up. But if it's a good blood choke, you don't even feel like you're in danger until it's too late. And that's definitely what this was. And that kind of, that's what the rest of the classes were like. We didn't just work on, in fact, I think that was the only submission we did. Everything else was positional, but it's just a lot of those moments of, man, I thought I knew this move. But, it goes to show there's different ways of doing all this stuff. But it was really cool. It's really interesting. So I'm going to bring a little bit of that stuff into some of it I just don't feel comfortable teaching because I'm not good enough at it, but some of it we'll bring into classes. So
got his purple belt.
Yeah, Joe Thomas from our place got his purple belt from Marcio the other day, and Joe hasn't been with us all that long. He moved over with Kierkor and Julian Papazian, but he's really good. Very solid blue belt, very tight. I haven't got a chance to roll with him yet because I'm beat up, but he really tight close guard. Looks like he's just a tight player, And he also makes the trek down to Norwalk once a week, which is a long drive to train with Marcio. So I think that's really good. He's working out really well here. I think guys really like him, like rolling with him. So anyway, this week we have some topics to discuss. First of all, I do have a question for Joker. What's a better team? Who do you think is a better team, Gracie Baja or Gracie Humaita?
The Gracie one.
Moving on. Strength training for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I know that there's a lot of opinions in this room about, lifting weights specifically to improve your Jiu-Jitsu game. So let's get into that. Marcosini, I think you're the one who recommended this topic. Is that correct?
Might have been.
What's your take on lifting weights for Jiu-Jitsu practice? Keep in mind, Marcosini, one thing that people, I got an influx of emails from people last week saying they couldn't hear you. So do speak up. Everyone is interested in your words.
All right. Yeah. I think strength training, if you want to, I hate to use the word win in jiu-jitsu, but if you want to compete, I think strength training is mandatory. I mean, you have to have it. The technique alone, obviously, you can learn jiu-jitsu, get the technique, proper technique. But like anything, if I want to lift something heavy and I'm using a pry bar, I still need to use strength. It's a critical piece. It's one component. You have to have technique. You got to have flexibility, agility, but you also need to have strength. I see it as kind of as 3 points on the triangle. I kind of think those are the three key things you need to be probably at the top of your game. You could be, an awesome jiu-jitsu practitioner as far as technique, but you probably won't go on to win too many tournaments if you're not adding that strength training in.
Are you speaking in a purely competitive direction?
Yeah, I think to maximize your potential, as far as, like I say, I hate to use the word win, but if you want to either tap people out more than you're tapping out, you got to add strength in there.
Yeah. Huh.
If you're talking people of equal technique.
Right.
I think if you're talking against the typical guy on the street, it's not as important. But once you start dealing with a blue belt versus a blue belt, strength is going to play a role. Along with size.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised you said that. I thought you were going to take the tact of,
I knew you would be.
Yeah. I thought you were going to be more of the alien, because you're one of the smaller guys here. For your size, you're very strong, but you're one of the smaller guys here, and I figure you were going to say technique wins out always. That's interesting. Of course, people don't know this about Marquezino, but he was the 1990 bench press champion of his freshman class in high school. Is it? No, wait, you were in high school in the 80s, early 80s.
70s.
Oh man!
How this new stuff
Now,
keeps coming
was
out.
that when Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about the stuff that he doesn't do, even though he did do it?
I don't think Marquezino went into that territory, the bomba and whatever. But Exor, I'm sure you have something to say about this.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it depends on the context. Like Mark said, if you're, I hate to use the word sport jiu-jitsu, but if that's your thing, then definitely part of your program should be some type of strength training, conditioning, and whatnot. And I'll get into more what I mean by strength training. It's not just going out benching and pick heavy things up and put them down, that kind of stuff. But I also think you kind of need to know who you are and what your game consists of. And I know guys that don't strength train that just whoop on me all the time, but they are extremely in tune with their game and their body, meaning either they're very flexible and they know how to use every single inch of flexibility all the time.
Like a Julian Papazian type.
Exactly. So, but he's extremely in tune, I think, with his skills that he was, either worked on or was born with or whatever. So I think if you're that in tune with who you are and how you can maximize your own body, your own ability, then you may not need it, But and then again, for self-defense reasons, I don't think you need it. I think you could get along if you were super technical and whatnot. But I will say this: I think it does come into play even in self-defense. Conditioning wise, like if you get tired, doesn't matter if you're purple belt, black belt, that's you're done. I think so. I think from that aspect it comes into play because not just you can run 5 miles a day. That's not necessarily going to give you the conditioning that you're going to need for a street fight. It's a little different. So I think from that aspect, I think it also comes into play. I also just added why wouldn't you want to be stronger? Period. Just naturally, I guess. I'm not saying big muscles, but just feel either stronger, preventing injury, protecting your joints, protecting all those muscles that that support your ligaments around your joints. All that stuff, I think helps out.
Yeah.
And then to Mark's point, absolutely, competition it absolutely comes into play. And obviously, you have some very confined rules when you're competing. It's it's not how it started out, but if you only got 4, 5, 6, 10 minutes to do something, then it's going to come into play, either strength or conditioning. So from that aspect, I think it definitely does. But at least for most of us, there's obviously people that are ridiculously technical and it doesn't matter, they'll just tear you up. But I think on those contests, yeah, it does come into play. And like I said before, strength, it's not just going out there benching and doing bicep curls. I think of total body workouts. If I had to go to the gym, a traditional gym and lift weights, I would do something like squats or, and even squats, I would do like front row, front bar squats where you're holding the bar in front of you, uses your whole body, that kind of stuff. So not beach muscles.
Not a bunch of biceps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not, or kettlebell stuff, where you're using your whole body and you're working your lungs and you're working your heart. When you get done doing a kettlebell workout, you feel like you want to puke. That's what I call strength training, conditioning. So.
Yeah. Ed, you're leaning in a little bit. You have an opinion?
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with Mark and Exor about the competition training. You are going up against other athletes at that point. You're not just some guy off the street or whatever for self-defense. So I definitely believe that you need to do strength training to compete and be competitive. As for me, I don't strength train at all. I come to class, I roll, and I'm in pretty good shape. And I still feel comfortable going out if someone comes up to me or whatever. I think I can handle myself pretty good. As for jiu-jitsu itself and strength training, Wes Gracie proved it. UFC #1. Guys were twice his size and he still won.
Right.
And they were competitive. Wes wasn't really.
But they weren't skilled in jiu-jitsu, and that's the thing.
Well, I'm talking about like a self-defense thing. But that's my outlook on that.
I don't know. I think I almost take the Alio tact. I'm not interested in competition, jiu-jitsu competition, at this point for myself. So I hate lifting weights. I think it's just absurdly boring, and I've tried it a bunch of times, but and even made results and got bigger, and but I just in the end it wasn't for me. So I kind of always come back to just technique, But it's kind of like what you said, Exor, about knowing yourself and knowing your style. I don't have an explosive style, and I'm not interested in developing that. So, but yeah, I think it depends. It does make a lot of sense. I did think about it in the aspect of injury prevention, though, because as I'm getting a little older, that's becoming more and more important, and maybe doing something just to to keep the elbows and the knees and the lower back, everything just tuned up enough so that the random odd twisting motion isn't gonna put you in bed for a month.
Yeah, and I think that could be just calisthenics too. You could do pull-up bar, push-ups, air squats, and you could do that semi-routinely and be good. Something I want to point out. Ed made a good point about Hoist and the first UFCs, but again, the difference then was the time.
Yeah,
you could use actual that. To me, that was self-defense jiu-jitsu. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
that wasn't sport jiu-jitsu yet.
Right,
that was real life self-defense jiu-jitsu. What was capable of doing. That with the 30 minutes, but now with the 5 minutes, it's hard to kind of lay there in a safe position for 4 minutes 30 seconds and try to pull an armbar at them. It's a little harder. But.
Definitely. Joker, you're a big CrossFit guy. You're big into the Olympic lifting and overhead, clean and jerk, and really explosive powerlifting kind of stuff. What's your take on weight training for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Oh, first I'd go with giggity for the first part of that, and then you see it time and time again in all the sports stuff, whether it's MMA or otherwise. If you've got two of the exact same technique matchup, it's usually the one that's just in better shape that wins. If you've got a guy that's even got far better technique, black belt versus a purple belt, for instance, if the black belt's cardio is in the garbage, they're going to almost always get outlasted from everything I've seen.
Right.
Other than that, I think it's always going to be important.
Just a quick question for you, Joker. What do you think about the IBJJF's new knee reaping rule?
What one's that?
Exor, what were you going to say?
I was going to make a couple other points regarding strength training. Again, I think it's important to differentiate that strength training is not necessarily just strength, I guess. It comes into power or comes into speed. So throw away the I'm stronger than you. We're competing. If I can maintain a certain amount of speed, eventually I might pull ahead, or vice versa. And the same thing with lasting long. And then I tend to contradict myself, so here's my first contradiction. I will say that I stopped lifting or doing any kind of strength training for about almost a year, and I noticed the most improvement in my jiu-jitsu game in that time span. So there's definitely something to be said about not using that when you're training and you're trying to learn techniques. And I think that stuff is strictly reserved for competition and or just the ability to be able to roll for long periods of time. So
yeah. Well, what do you guys think about? Kind of everybody says this, that the smaller guy in jiu-jitsu always has to be more technical, and it's the smallest guys in jiu-jitsu who get the best. And just speaking, from a local standpoint, I think of guys like Greg Wood or Brad Wolfson or Kierkegaard, even Mark, who you're not going to outmuscle some of these bigger guys, and their jiu-jitsu is arguably some of the best. What do you guys? How does that fit in with this? Mark, what do you think?
Yeah,
I mean, Mark's one of the smaller guys here. He is strong for his size, though. That should be, like when I get both arms on one of his arms to do a key lock, and he just smiles, and I can't make it happen. He's pretty strong.
That's technique.
He's a heavyweight on the inside.
No, I agree with that. I mean, again, I think you're always compensating for the areas you're weaker in. So if you're smaller or not as strong, you're not relying on those, and you have to rely more on the technique. When we're talking about strength training, I'm not talking about a spaz white belt that's using all he has for muscle. That's not going to get you anywhere. Talking about combining that strength with good, solid technique, and that's what's going to put you into that next category. So it's the right time to apply that strength. And in my opinion, a lot of our strength in this sport, or I should say art, is isometric. I mean, it's being able to to hold on to a guy and really control that situation. So it's core strength and just having a very tight feel, yet being relaxed and loose at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Being able to cling like that monkey strength.
yeah, monkey strength.
Yeah. Anything else, Joker? Exor.
Yeah, I would concur with Mark. Rolling with the smaller guys are definitely they always seem to be way more technical, and I think that's probably out of necessity. I will say this, like even rolling with with Brad Wilson, I went down there yesterday, and maybe not physically imposing person, but he's super technical. He just whoops on people. But he doesn't get tired either. So I think there's something to be said about that. That either he rolls a lot enough where he's conditioned, or he does something that to stay conditioned.
With him, there's a tightness there.
Yeah,
for sure. I've thought philosophically about that concept a lot, that the smallest guys get the best. But I also wonder if they're just the smallest guys who stayed, because the rest of the smaller guys got stepped on and stomped and squished and left. They're just the guys who hung on the longest. That could be too. It's got to be a little bit of both there. Joker, anything else?
It also helps to condition yourself, like I did, to scream, not be afraid to scream, rape or that's my purse. And then usually other people will come and help you. That always helps. But
Joker, I want to try an experiment. Get up close to the mic. Ready?
Yes.
Try this out. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, again.
Glorious. That's good radio. That's good air.
One time, I don't know if you guys know about this. Old Dirty was teaching a class. If you're a listener, you don't know who Old Dirty is. He's like our senior most brown belt here at the school. He's just a killer. He's just got, the killer, like, animal instinct about him. And he's sort of a no-nonsense guy when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And he's got Joker in class one day. And Joker can't stop laughing. That's the reason we call him. He just cannot stop laughing. And finally, Sean just goes, just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and do jiu-jitsu.
He didn't want to look me in the eye during.
I think he wanted you to stop getting distracted, so you stopped giggling. I think he was having enough. But I think those are all good points when it comes to strength training. Any other observations on that?
I guess my last comment is I'd never skip out on like a jiu-jitsu class to go strength train too. So it's definitely secondary, maybe the third level. I mean, I'm doing first and foremost technique and jiu-jitsu, and I wouldn't skip out on a class to go get stronger or more conditioned or something like that.
Yeah, you can't replace I don't think you can replace it. You can replace technique with strength. That's also shown constantly, but I don't think you could replace strength with technique. I don't think that'll work.
Anybody else wish that Josh was here right now? Yeah. There we have it, folks. JiuJidiots podcast for May 5th. Marquezino, any last words that you'd like to?
I won't be going to the gym now. So
right. Oh, we should talk about this. I kicked Exor right in the eyeball the other day. It was
now that's good technique.
It was a crescent kick, black belt level crescent kick, right to the eye bone, and I whipped it. And he was on bottom, and I was in his. He was working some kind of butterfly thing. I was standing up in his guard, and he had a hook on my knee, and I just whipped that kick right around, square in the eyeball. How's that healing up?
It's doing pretty good. I was scared that I was going to have a pretty nasty black eye.
I was scared too.
Back to work. But
it felt like a lot of contact. I felt like the toenail sink in.
Yeah, it definitely went in my eyeball. Luckily, my eyelid was closed when that happened.
Yeah.
But it put me out for a couple minutes. It's been a rough week. I got that from
oh wow,
Ed Lahiva the night before.
Exor just showed us a bruise on his arm that looked like the top of Gorbachev's head.
Yeah, that's the biggest one I've ever had. So
that's
serious. Been a rough week.
But
to something you were talking about last week, like it, not once, even Ed giving me the bruise or you kicking me in the face full strength. It wasn't.
Well, no, come on. If it was full strength, you'd probably be dead.
That's true. That's true. I'd be dead. But full. I should say full speed. But not once said anything negative crossed my mind. I was just like, I was dead. Pinching me on accident or whatever. And then you obviously, I kind of thought it was my fault for grabbing the heel so close to my face. But so
but yeah, no, that's true. The longer that you're at a school and rolling with guys that they can hurt you pretty badly, and you just don't get mad about it. That's the thing about jiu-jitsu that's different. You don't get that anywhere else. I'm gonna cut it off here. So that was JiuJidiots podcast for May the 5th, 2013. We'll be next week. We'll be back. I hope that we get Jason Fife, my lovely co-host, back here. He's in Ohio this week. Sometimes he does that. He just drives to Ohio. So. Hopefully we'll get him back. And JiuJidiots out. Music provided by the Soul Merchant.